Hello everyone, so in this video I want to go over how to use the power supplies and waveforms. So I already got my Analog Discovery 2 connected, also connected to the BNC adapter, the ribbon cable, to the breakout, and the breadboard. So all of it's set up. So what I need to do first is just open up the supplies tools. And when I open up the supplies tools, it's going to take me to the new window. So as you can see here, there's a master enable is off button. So I can click it and it will turn the power supplies on. And you will see that there will be another button right here where it says positive supply V plus on. I can turn those off. So these are toggle buttons. So this would allow me to turn on which power supply I would like to choose or turn off which ones I don't want. So what we have to do is we can vary the voltage either by entering a value either between 500 millivolts to 5 volts. We can either enter the numeric value or we can use the drop down and select a value, or we can use the slider and slide it to any value that we choose. So in this example, I'm gonna set the voltage to 3.3 volts. Now I'm going to continue the rest of the video showing you how do we set up the breadboard to use the power supply. Now that we complete the initial setup of the power supply on waveforms, I'd like to show you how we're going to be setting up the circuit on the breadboard using the breakout. So you can see there's multiple symbols on the breakout, and the one we want to use for the positive supply voltage is the V plus symbol. If we wanted to use a negative supply, negative voltage supply, we'd use a V minus symbol. So what we have to do is connect a jumper wire from the V plus to either one of these rails right here. So, and to complete our circuit, what is essential is to connect a ground wire from the ground symbol, the downward arrow, to the other rail that is available here. So usually we like to represent positive supplies or voltage supplies with the red cable. So in this case, I'm going to use the red cable in this example. So I'm going to go ahead and put the jumper wire right where the same row as V plus, and I'm going to connect it to the first column over here. And just like I said, we're going to need a ground wire. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on the same row as the downward arrow. And I'm going to connect it to the other column. So they should never be on the same columns. They should always be on separate columns, because then you're just going to be zeroing out your power supply, and we don't want that to happen. So now that we have our power supply and our ground established on these two columns, now what we can do is set up a test circuit in order to see if how the power supply will show. So what I'm going to do is going to make a basic LED circuit. Now in order to connect the LED, you do have to realize that it is a diode, and the direction of the current does matter, and that's why you have one terminal longer than the other terminal. And so I'm going to connect the longer terminal to this side because it's going to be the higher voltage side, and the lower terminal to the ground side. So I'm just going to go ahead and connect that. And now I'm going to take, in order to add the positive voltage to the circuit, I'm going to go on the same column that we established our positive voltage. So I will put the yellow jumper wire on the same column as the red wire, and then I'm going to place it into the same row of the resistor. So this part of the resistor will have the 3.3 volts that we set up in waveforms. And now I'll be connecting the ground wire to the diode with the other end on the same column where we established the ground connection. Now I just have to do is turn on the power supply. And you can see the LED turned on after I turned on the power supply. And one thing to note is that when you're using the power supply or ground connections is that the center part of the breadboard, it's not going to have a connection across. So if I tried connecting the ground wire to the same column where we established the ground connection, it's not going to complete the connection. Therefore, the LED is not going to light up because it's not completing the circuit. And the same thing applies to the power column, the same column we established the voltage. Now it's important to keep this in mind that when we're working with our circuits.